If you look carefully at the image of Black Madonna, you can easily picture this icon in your newspaper in a report about domestic abuse victim. There she is, a middle-aged black lady with scars on her cheek, another scar on her neck. An image that unfortunately we have seen too many times. Wives, girlfriends, women beaten and abused by their husbands, boyfriends, significant others. But also women in the church pushed aside, not given place at the table, not given voice to speak with equal force as the voice of man. It is no different that very unique image of Our Lady of Czestochowa has caused people with all kinds of wounds to seek her protection, to seek her compassion, to seek her guidance, especially women who too often find themselves in her shoes, bruised and beaten emotionally and unfortunately sometimes physically as well. And I think as Christians we have to honestly look at our scriptures, at our tradition and say, that wasn't right. That's why I asked the second reader to skip the words, the word of the Lord, at the end of the second passage tonight. Women, be submissive to your husbands. I hope you didn't take it too seriously, because this is not God's vision for a healthy relationship. This is not God's vision how two loving people should build their relationship. Be subordinate. Just to let you know that that text is not a part of God's revelation. You can open the letter to Ephesians, and one paragraph later, Paul says, slaves, obey your masters. That very same page in the Bible. After 19 centuries, we finally got over that slaves passage. And most Christians today honestly say, well, that's not a part of God's revelation, that slave part. I think today we honestly have to say that woman submissive to man is not a part of God's revelation, neither. Too many of our mothers, sisters, end up looking like that. And unfortunately, the history of Christianity, the history of our Bible has played a big part in the abuse of women. As a man, as a priest, as a Christian, I ask your forgiveness. But if you find yourself bruised and beaten and sometimes pushed aside, you can do two things with such a traumatic experience. It can break you, or it can make you stronger. How many of you are familiar with a series of books and movies about Harry Potter? You are? Good. Wake up. So if you remember the story of Harry Potter, when he was a young child, the one who must not be named attacked his family, killed his parents, and intended to kill Harry as well, but was not successful because of Harry's mother and her love. As a result of that traumatic experience, Harry carries a scar for the next 7 books in the series. And if you watch the movies, the scar is very preeminent on Harry's forehead, right there. There is no hiding it. But Harry looks at the scar as a badge of honor, eventually. That scar not only reminds him of the one who must not be named, but also reminds him that he needs to stand up to the person who did abuse him. Moreover, Harry is the only one who names Lord Voldemort. Everyone else is petrified to mention that name. And perhaps there is a connection between Black Madonna and Harry Potter. Perhaps their experience with scars and wounds have made them both so appealing to us. Because who can honestly say, I have went through life without a single scar or wound? Bless you, Michael. One person. If you have lived longer enough, or longer than 5 or 10 years, and you cannot fall asleep at church like this innocent boy does, there are scars on your soul and in your heart. And as you go through life with your scars, they might break you, or they might empower you, like Harry Potter, to stand up, to name the person who wounded you. And that's why as Christians we have no choice but to name the sins of sexism that have their roots in our Bible. We have no choice but to name the sins of racism on the very same page in the Bible. We have no choice but to name the sins of homophobia in the very same letter in the Bible. We may pretend that one must not mention those things, But unless you name them, you cannot go through a process of healing. And every time I come to pray in front of this beautiful, over 300 years old image of Black Madonna, I thank God for my wounds. I thank God that my life has not been perfect. That, like so many women, I too have been abused and beaten physically and emotionally and spiritually as well. Because those wounds, those scars, made her to be such a compassionate mother to us. Those wounds and scars have made Harry the only one able to stand up to Lord Voldemort. And my wounds, my scars, are making me a better person, a better priest, a better Christian. And they can make you a better person and better Christian as well. Amen.